hopefully.
Okay, so I want to talk to you about the power of Pear Deck. So here are the things that we hear from both students and parents, and then from teachers. You guys come to us because you're hearing it too, which is that students are struggling. They have multiple classrooms and multiple platforms they're going to, with multiple ways that teachers are presenting and creating things in them. And so it's very confusing and overwhelming for them. And so what we hope Pear Deck will help you do is create a structure and an organization that allows you to show the students how your system works, give them instruction enough that they can actually do what you ask them to do so that you get back the results that you want. So that's kind of, for me, the importance of it. I also think that I like the idea of housing your entire lesson through a Pear Deck. Literally, you can walk students step by step through everything you're doing, from this is what we're doing, this is what it's called, these are our objectives, through direct instructions, through video or text or image, whatever you're going to do, and then literally lining out for them what they should do certain days, what resource you have for them, and also directing them on how to turn them in on whatever platform you're using, whether that is Google Classroom, Seesaw, or another platform. So for me, that is a huge benefit of Pear Deck. And again, we're going to show you how to build that today.
Absolutely. Question for after class before I forget. Okay, we'll get to it, Caesar. So another really great thing about Pear Deck is that it's a good way to have informative assessment going on as you're actually teaching your class and being able to look. So even using Pear Deck as a vessel, you can still use all of the functions of Pear Deck to kind of see where your kiddos are at and what their needs are.
Absolutely. And so on the next slide, what's really great is that regardless of...
It's not turning for me. It will do.
Okay.
That's
okay. But there are two types of learning. You know, there's the synchronous, when you're all together, and that includes during a meet, or there's asynchronous, where some students don't have some students. And I'm sure I assume you're all experiencing that, where not every kid shows up for every meet. But there are ways for you to use Pear Deck with Google Meet in order to capture, to allow your students to experience it. So what you can do is you can actually have the meet, and with whatever students you have, you can be in teacher paced with Pear Deck and record that session. That way, you have a recording of all the direct instruction you're giving throughout the Pear Deck, and you can then share that with your students on whatever your platform is. And the great part is when you end that recording, you can then turn the Pear Deck to student pace, and students in the home still have access to it and can run through it at their own pace to walk through what you need them to do. And that way, those who can't make it, they still benefit from what you created in two ways. They have the recording of you actually walking through about the nuances and expanding upon what you've done for the students who did make it. And then they also have access to the actual Pear Deck, so they can use it and complete it like you'll have all your students do.
And sorry, Michaela, it's back up now. So you can
so let me show you how to do that. So these are the ways you can do that when you're in the Google Meet on your Pear Deck. First of all, if you look at the one that says number 1, the first thing you can do is you can mute and unmute. Is that what that one's for, Jenna? Sorry.
Well, to hover over the bottom, so that way to experience it with me, hover over the bottom to get that white strip up.
Yeah, so the white strip, I call it the banner, you call it a strip or ribbon, comes up, and that's where you get all of your functions. So if you choose in slide, the one that says number 2, to present, you just make sure you choose entire screen. Once you click on that, what you get is this white box in the center for step number 3, and you click once on it to highlight. It'll highlight it in blue and pull up the blue button that says share. At that point, you can share it, and then down in the ribbon again, there are the 3 dots, and you can choose record this session. And remember, just like Jenna said, it's always going to ask, does everyone accept the recording? And so you kind of need to ask that. And if no one says no, then you can start recording.
Okay, I'm going to try to do the split screen again on my computer, and hopefully it's not going to be ugly to me this time. So let's see. That's the beauty of distance learning, right? How many of y'all run into technical problems?
Every day, Jena.
Every day. All right, here we go. Okay, so let's go ahead and move over into this screen here on screen 5. Hopefully it will let me work. Okay, so I'm going to scoot this over just a little bit so that way you guys can see a little bit better, hopefully. Be a little bit bigger. Okay, so there's several different things I want to talk to you guys about once you open up your Pear Deck add-on. First of all, what is Pear Deck? Pear Deck is a way to take informative slides that you have that you've already created. Maybe, 10 years ago, it was great. The kids would sit there and listen to them. And now you're noticing, like, as you're starting to talk through those slides, they're like twiddling their thumbs or looking off into space or whatever. So we really want them starting to interact with those slides again. You've got great information on there. We just need a way to have them interact. So Pear Deck, enter Pear Deck. And what Pear Deck is, it's an add-on for Google Slides. It's not a different program. It's not an app. It's not anything like that. Any student who has a connection to data and a device can use Pear Deck. It's not device specific. It's not, all it needs is an internet connection and a device. So it can be a computer, it can be a tablet, it can be a phone. Doesn't matter what they have, as long, again, device, internet connection. The next thing that you'll want to know about Pear Deck is how to get it started. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and open up this larger so that way y'all don't have to see it skirting around the issues, right? All right, so to get Pear Deck started, it's an add-on. So you would go right here to add-ons, click on add-ons, and then I've already got Pear Deck, so I could click here and click open, or I would go to get add-ons if I didn't have it. And then you're just going to search Pear Deck right here. It'll pop up. Mine's already installed, but if it wasn't, when you click on it, it's going to say where it says slides add-on, it'll say get or something to that effect. Install, something like that. Okay, so once you do that, your Pear Deck is going to open up. Some of you guys may notice that this has been here as well. Some people have it already pushed out, some people don't, but that's another way to get to Pear Deck, to the add-on. So here we are. Here's the Pear Deck add-on. This is where all of the magic happens in making your Google Slides turn into an interactive slide for Pear Deck or as a vessel for your other lessons. It just depends on what you're wanting to use it for, or maybe a combination, which is actually kind of what we're going to be doing. So the first thing I want to talk to you guys about is templates. So over here on the right-hand side, right underneath the green start lesson, we have template library, right? If I click on this arrow, it takes me to our template library. Okay, we have things for the beginning of the lesson. We have things for during the lesson, end of lesson, critical thinking, social emotional learning, and then example questions in different subject areas. This is what I'm going to tell you on this. Don't be shy. Just because you teach social studies doesn't mean just come to social studies. Look in all of them, because the great thing about Pear Deck's templates are that they are 100% customizable for you and what you need them to do. Okay, so here are those. And so let's say that we wanted to start at the beginning of the lesson. I'm going to come in here and let's say I like this one right here. What did you learn from the homework? I'm going to click on that and it's going to pull it in. Okay, so here it is. What did you learn from the homework? Well, everything's homework, right? So that could confuse the kids right now because they're doing it all at home. So what if I will say, what do you want to learn today? Okay, if I don't like this person, I can even delete the person and I could add something else if I wanted to. Okay, 100% customizable. Write in whatever you want. We know that it's a Pear Deck slide and we know that it's interactive because of this, right? Oh, sorry. My trackpad is super sensitive today because of this down here. This is Perry. He's the mascot. And it says students can write your responses, right? So that tells me right there, this gray bar right here with Perry tells me that I've made it an interactive slide. Don't touch this after you're done with you put it in. Don't touch it, don't move it, don't mess with it, because this is what makes it a Pear Deck slide. If I take this right here and I accidentally delete it, it's no longer a Pear Deck slide and it's no longer going to be interactive, even though I pulled it from the templates. So just don't touch that ribbon. If you accidentally delete it, remember there's that undo button right up here. You can undo it and put it back right here. Okay, let's say that I decided, you know what, I'm not really feeling this slide. I don't really want it. I can delete that. Okay, the other slides that I have, and all I did was I highlighted this in orange and then pressed delete. I highlighted on this side, made sure it was in orange, and then I pressed delete. Then we also have where you may already have your information or you have the question that you want to ask and you just need to make the slide interactive. That's where these student questions come in, right? So you have a text question where you can get them to type it out. So that one that I just added and deleted was, what do you want to learn today? That would have been a text question where they could type in their answers for me. Okay. Then you have the multiple choice. So A, B, C, D choices, right? I think it goes up to 5, so it goes to E. There's this number one. I don't like it. I think it's confusing. If y'all want to talk about it after everybody's gone, I will stay on and talk with you about it, but I don't, that's my least favorite of Pear Deck. I think it's a little bit confusing. I can also send students to a website to look at things. And then the drawing tool. If you want them to do, sometimes I like the drawing tool even better than text, because in the drawing tool there is text, so you can either type it out or you can draw on it and write it. And then we also have this draggable, okay? And we're gonna, here in just a minute, we're gonna go through and we're gonna build the Pear Deck, and we're gonna use all of these, okay? So I'm gonna show you how each of them work as we go through, okay? So now we're looking at slide 6. We're building this Pear Deck now, okay? Now this one's kind of preloaded because it would take too long for me not to load this one up for us. But what I want you guys to notice here is that I already have the question to the question that I want answered. It's already written on my Pear Deck, okay? I mean on my slide deck. You do not ever write the question into Pear Deck. You always write the question that you're wanting them to answer. It's going to be added onto the slide. And the interaction part comes from whether you're wanting them to use the text or the ABC. This one's going to be multiple choice. We know that because right here with Perry, we've got A, B, and C. So I'm just going to show you this. I'm going to click on here to kind of show you what this looks like. Now, one issue, okay, I'll go to that in just a second. So I have to actually write in what I want for A, B, C, and D. Okay, so these are the ones that I've already just predetermined. These are the ones that we're going to use. So when I'm ready, I'm going to click Update Slide. But before I do that, I want to talk to you guys just a second about one of the things that I've had to hop on and help several teachers with several times. And that is, it usually happens in elementary, where the elementary teacher has like this card maybe that they were wanting to use that says, you know, like, what's the vowel in this word, cat, and then A is C, or B is A, and C is T, and the kids have to see it, but they already see the A, B, and C choices on that card. So the teacher comes and clicks add multiple choice, and just for example, this is what it would look like, but it would say option A, option B, option C, option D, whatever, but they don't write anything in here. The kids will not be able to answer. So even if you have a card and it looks like that, then for here, let's say that this was option E, I would just write the letter E in. So that way that gives them an option. If you don't write anything in here, they cannot click on it, okay? Makes sense? So far, so good? Questions about multiple choice, adding a multiple choice question into your slide deck? Okay, so now let's look at slide number 7. And what we're going to see here is a question that says, what do you know about respiration and photosynthesis? Well, I want my students to type in whatever they know about it. So I'm going to use this text question, and I'm just going to click on it. And it's just adding it in. So now we can see that they're going to be able to write on it. That's all I have to do because the question's right here. Now, one thing that I did to help my students is I highlighted the question. So that way they would know, their eyes hopefully would be drawn to that, right? Oh, it's green. Why is that green right there? Okay. All right, now we're going to slide 8, and this is where we're going to add draggables. Okay, let me move this. This is just personal preference on my part, and I forgot to delete it. So I'm going to delete the text box so we can see this. So what I want the students to do, I've already written it on here. I want you to drag check marks to where they belong, indicating what process is happening when. Okay, so I'm going to click right here on draggable. Okay, I don't want the dot, so I'm going to click right here, and I'm going to see if there's a check mark. Let's look through. Those are numbers, people, exclamation. Oh, yeah, there's my check mark. Okay, I know I need 3 check marks. So I'm going to add another check mark. Now I can change the color if I want, or I can keep them all red because I don't want to confuse kids and make them think that one goes in a particular spot. So now I have my 3 check marks. Now, I'm going to change these to this blue color because I want you guys to be able to see it a little bit better over here. Now, do you see my check marks over here on this smaller screen where it says draggable item size? This box right here, I can make my check marks really big or smaller. I'm going to make them a little bit smaller because they're going to have to go next to these boxes or these right here, right? So I'm going to keep them a little bit smaller, and I'm going to click update slide. Okay, so now I know that this one's draggable, and it tells you students drag the icons, and it shows which icons they have. Okay, and you guys are going to experience this as an actual student here in just a minute. Now let's look at slide 9 with the Explore. This is really where Michaela was talking about earlier, just using it as a vessel. Okay, so on the Engage, we've got them engaged, gave them 2 Pear Deck questions. They're good to go on that. Now let's look at Explore. All right. And then this is also where Michaela was talking about walking them through step by step. And Jack's going to talk a little bit more about this because there was a video created to help our students. But one of the things that I really want you guys to notice is under the multimedia text, it says choose one of the following, right? So they're going to either choose thing link, or they're going to choose this article, or they're going to choose to study the infographic. And then also in my video, I talked to them about how anything that's underlined, that means that it's hyperlinked. So if you just click on it, it'll take you there. Okay. So there's 0 things on here to do with Pear Deck on Explore. We're not doing anything with Pear Deck. Pear Deck was just the container or the vessel to get this information out. Okay. Makes sense so far? All right. Now we have explain. Here's another one. Completely just a container. Okay. So again, it's a teach using these resources. So you're going to watch this video, and then you're going to pretend like your friend was absent or needs you to teach them what you learned in the video. So then they're going to take and either write it down on a Padlet, or they're going to record the summary in Flipgrid. Up to them. And notice again, and we want to make sure we're showing our students that. Because I'll tell you, for me as a student growing up, if I wasn't pointed out and the teacher explicitly told me, Jena, you only have to do one. Don't do both. I don't want you to do both. I'm going to go ahead and do both just to be safe, which can put a lot of pressure on our kiddos, right? My daughter's the same way. Puts a lot of pressure on her because she just wants to make sure she's got it all covered and not messing up on anything. So it's great when you video for your students so that way they really can see kind of what's going on. All right, and then here we have this one, and it says we're going to make this one a drawing slide. So use the drawing tools to tell me if each of the elements, if each of the elements go into or out of the plant. Okay, so then I'm going to take my drawing slide right there. I just clicked on drawing. I'm going to add it in. So I reworded that question like 15 times and it still doesn't sound right to me. I'm sure Michaela could have helped me with that. But and then on this one, I would explain to my students like carbon dioxide and water, does it go into the plant or out of the plant? Oxygen, does it come into the plant or out of the plant? Use your drawing tool and tell me about these things. Okay. So, give them, here's light, and what's light doing? It's going in. How do we know? Because the arrow's pointing into the plant. So it gives them just a little bit of, okay, this is what we're supposed to be doing, right? All right, as we continue through, again, elaborate, just a vessel. It's just a vessel again, okay? And this tells them what they're going to use. They can use Educreations or they can use Screencastify. If you are not familiar with Screencastify, I would say it's the best way to do a video for your students. And when you do Screencastify, everybody has it pushed out to them, but it's right here. It's this one right here. And when I click on it, the one thing that I would tell you guys that I would appreciate and your students would appreciate you doing is to have this embedded webcam on here. Because when I go to record, I'm just going to record for half a second just so you guys can see. When I click record, y'all see down here that my picture's here? I can move it wherever I want. And then when I'm ready to record, all I have to do, again, like Michaela said, even with when we're talking about Google Meet, you just click on this. And once you click on this, the share button comes blue. I click on that. It'll give me a 3-second countdown, and then I get started. But the great thing about this is that even though I'm explaining all of my screen, my students will still be able to see my face. And they need that. They're desperate, actually, to see our faces. Okay. Again, so elaborate, just a vessel, and then evaluate. And let me tell you a little bit about this one. So they're going to this is their reflection piece or their assessment piece, right? So they can either do the quiz on the Google form, or they can take this quizzes. And then what I want you guys to notice here is that I have this done and done. So telling them, hey, pat yourself on the back for a job well done, because you're done. And that's because when you use a Pear Deck does not do like, okay, everything's done. You're done. You can go. See you later. You're just done. Okay. All right. Questions about how to build a Pear Deck?
Jenna, I want to point out something that I know is obvious, but for me is important to know, which is I always build my whole slide deck first. You don't need to build from Pear Deck and then try to put your content in. Just apply it to your content. And also, just for me, a recommendation is don't do exactly what Jenna said. Sometimes use it simply as a vessel for your content. Don't always feel you have to make everything interactive or tons of things interactive.
Right. Okay. So now, were there any questions?
One, but I don't quite. It says, can you go over the Screencastify over the slide? I don't understand.
Yes, the answer is yes. If you are in your slide and then you choose Screencastify, you are then recording whatever is happening on that screen at that time, including the slide that you're on.
And Screencastify even has like tools where you can mark up over it and whatnot. So to annotate over. Okay, so now what I'm asking you guys to do, I want y'all to go and click on a new tab. So if you're here, you're going to click on a new tab and you're going to go to joinpd.com. Joinpd.com. Because now we're going to look at this. Sorry, I swapped right on y'all. Okay, joinpd.com. And then I did it again. Sorry, my fingers are not working correctly today. There we go. Now this is how we're going to start the lesson. I'm going to show you how to start the lesson, and then we're going to go through the Pear Deck as a student. Okay. So the first thing I'm going to do is everybody back where they can see see my screen. If you're not, get back to where you can see my screen so that way I can show you how to do this. This is relatively new. If you took one of our very first Intro to Pear Deck classes, you didn't see this because it wasn't here. This happened like a week and a half ago, I think. So when I click on Start Lesson, it's going to give me two options, okay? Student-paced mode activity or instructor-paced. Because we're pretending like right now this is our live office hours, I'm going to go with instructor-paced mode. And then we're going to go from there. But right now I'm going to start us out in instructor-paced mode. Jack's going to talk to you guys about student-paced mode and how to get it into the hands of the kids. Okay. So here we go. I'm going to give you guys, y'all are going to go to joinpd.com again, and I'm going to give you a code so that you can join. Joinpd.com. All right. The code is V as in Victor, Y, F is in Frank, H is in Hank, U. VYFHU. VYFHU. I've got 3 students in. 4. There we go. We got y'all coming in now. Again, VYFHU. I'm sure Jack or Michaela can add that to the chat window if they haven't yet, so that way everybody can see it a little bit easier.
I got it. I'll put it in there.
Okay. Michaela, how many students do we have today?
We show 26, so minus us, 23.
All right.
But I actually joined too, so that'd be 24.
No, I love it. That's perfectly fine. So while we're doing this, I want you guys to notice when y'all join, it has a little smiley face. It asks how you're doing, and you're going to click on that, and then you come in and it automatically started you guys on evaluate, right? That's my fault because I didn't start it in the right spot. And so really what I could do is come here and go ahead and get us back in the correct spot by coming up to where we need to be rather than where we're at. And starting right here, right? And then I can click on that top right-hand corner and put up that post again, okay? So we've got 19 students in. We're gonna go ahead and continue. If you are not in and you wanna be in, you're gonna go to joinpd.com and it's that code up in the top right-hand corner. All right, so let's experience this as a student. So you guys tell me, what experience do you have with Pear Deck? What experience do you have with Pear Deck?
And Jena, I think it's important to know, I know with my kids are seeing classes do this, it doesn't tell you, okay, you submitted your answer. It just submits it.
It doesn't. As soon as you click it, you submit it. Okay, so there's a couple of different ways I can show you guys. Right now I have mine split screened. If y'all want to come back to where you can see what I'm doing, it's split screened. So you can see on this left-hand side is the teacher dashboard. This is what where I can control things and I can see who says what. And then I've also got this projector view, which is over here. And we're going to talk a little bit more about the views of Pear Deck and all of that here in just a minute. But just so you guys know, this is the dashboard. This is the teacher dashboard. And I'll show you how to get to that momentarily, where I can see everything. I can even come down here and I can see Karen and Sylvia haven't answered the question yet. Now, Karen, Sylvia, not calling y'all out. Promise I'm not. I'm actually glad y'all didn't. I can just see it. And I want you guys, as a teacher, you can see this. Now, here's what I would tell you. I don't have dual screens, so I've got it in the split screen. I would not suggest you do this for the students, in front of the students, because the greatness of Pear Deck is the anonymity of it. Students feel like they can do better and be more honest when you can't see them. You can do your dashboard, and I could control this whole entire. I can control this whole entire thing on my computer. I mean, on my cell phone right here by going to peardeck.com //DASH, the word dash, short for dashboard. And the greatness, but I'm kind of doing like a Wizard of Oz moment right here, right? And I'm pulling back the curtain so y'all don't ignore the man behind the curtain, but this left-hand side is the man behind the curtain, right? So I can see everybody. So if I come here are my 4 people who are already using Pear Deck. Here are my 8 people who've seen it being used. Here's my 4 people who aren't quite sure, and then I have the 3 that are like, what, why am I here? Where am I, right? So you can see that. I can also come and go ahead and click on the next one and get y'all to this one. So what do you know about respiration and photosynthesis? So y'all can if y'all will just type things, you don't have to have the right answer. Just start typing things as a student, just so that we can see. Okay, now I can take over here and show you guys, show responses on the projector side. If y'all are looking at my screen now, we can see, oh, sorry, I think I moved y'all. Did I move y'all? I'm so sorry. Again, the beauty of technology, right? Okay, so I can show y'all responses by clicking. What's it doing? I'm sorry, I didn't touch it and it just started moving. Don't touch anything yet, guys. I'm so sorry. Okay, let's try this again. Okay. So I can show responses on the projector side right over here, and I can see everybody's answers. But what do you notice on the right-hand side that's not on the left-hand side? Somebody unmute and tell me. What's the difference?
The names don't show.
That's right. So projector mode is anonymous. Teacher dashboard we can see, okay? That's why I'm saying you wouldn't want this to be shown for your students, right? Let's say that Jenny's answer is like the best answer and I really want to show everybody. If I click on this star button right here, Jenny's is the only one that will show for me. If I also like Summers, I can click on Summers and we'll have both of theirs. Let's say that Lee wrote something and it was really ugly and nobody should ever have to see it ever again. I can click hide responses. And even when I unstar these, what you'll notice is Lee's is not there anymore. Okay, so, but this is again something that you would do on your phone or on maybe an iPad or a secondary computer or Chromebook. I've got it split screen so that way you guys can see the capabilities. Okay, you wouldn't ever want to actually do this in front of your students because that's going to be, it could be pretty hurtful for them. Up here in the top left-hand corner, I want to show you this on that dashboard. We've got 20 of 21 students in here. When I click on that, I can see everybody that's in here, and then I can see Leticia is not in here right now, but there's several reasons, right? She could have stepped away for just a second and her screensaver came on. She could have clicked over to something different, and so it just shows that she's not online. We're not really sure why. And then I told you guys about the smiley faces, right? So Amy either it glitched or she chose to skip it. I'm not sure. And that you'll never know for sure on the with the face when it looks like this. It could be either or. But see, we see here that most everybody's in a decent to okay mood. I love this social emotional learning part of Pear Deck because let's say that Devin has orange face. When I see Devin again tomorrow, if Devin has orange face again, maybe I need to reach out to Devin. Maybe Devin's parents didn't get by to get the food in time last Wednesday, and Devin's gone a whole week without food. Okay, we might not know that, but because of the facial features, we can say, man, they've been on orange or they've been on red, but let me reach out to them and see, because we can help them with things like that, right? When stuff like that happens. So it's a really great way to gauge your kiddos without actually gauging, being face-to-face with your kiddos. All right. So let's move to the next one. So then here's this one. You're going to drag, remember again, you're going to drag those 3 check marks where you think they go. Okay. Now, what y'all are seeing is that I haven't hidden the responses. So you're seeing where people are putting them out. We don't want to show, we want to hide responses until after everybody's done. Otherwise, what's going to happen? Everybody knows where to go, right? Another reason for not having this. Okay, if you're working in real time with your students and they're playing around, you can click this button right here. My computer's running a little bit slow on me. And what just happened to y'all's screens? Can't move, right? I've locked you. Now I can get your attention back up here and say, okay, guys, now let's kind of look at this. Now, Pear Deck is amazing if you're one of those teachers that like to reflect on your teaching practices and see if you can do better versus like if you're one of those teachers like, kids these days, it's all the kids. The kids have changed and they're just the worst, and then you're not going to like Pear Deck. Because let's say that I just taught you guys photosynthesis and respiration. Like I should see a smattering of check marks here, here, and here, right? I've got somebody or maybe several somebodies that has their photosynthesis up here. Is that their fault or mine if I have more than 2 or 3 up here? That's going to be my fault because clearly I wasn't explaining something right. There's some lines that got crossed. I need to check on them. If I wanted to check on, I can come over here to the teacher dashboard and I can see who, there's more than one, but Vivian, I'm sorry, you're the one that comes up and you were probably trying to move it and I locked you. So, but like maybe I need to just check on Vivian to make sure that Vivian knows that photosynthesis doesn't happen at nighttime because there's no sun, right? So it's one way for us to be able to figure out, okay, so maybe I'll make a little mini video lesson and send it to Vivian in the classroom so that way she can get to it. Does that make sense to everybody? All right, so let's move to our next one. Again, what I want y'all to notice on this one, 0 things for Pear Deck on this one. There's nothing on Pear Deck. It's just an avenue to get us somewhere different. It's just the vessel to get us somewhere different. So we're going to do explore. Okay. All right. And then we have, again, this explain. Same thing. Just Pear Deck's just the vessel to get us there. Okay. And this will make sense in just a second when I show you the next, when we go into the next little session. All right. Now just so you guys can experience that drawing tool. Use the drawing tool to tell me if each of the elements go into or out of the plant. So you could use your arrows and just push arrows or however you want to do it. Okay. And what you guys notice over here, I've got several different ways of looking at it. I can look at it like this. This is a list view. I can go to a grid view where I can see everybody's a little bit easier. Or I can go to this overlaid view where I can see kind of everything that's going on. Okay, so I'm going to skip slides 12 and 13 because, again, those are just vessels as well. And we really need to kind of pick up the pace and move on. So what I want to show you guys from here, let's say this happened during our student office hours, and I had 21 of my 30 students on, right? Y'all got to got all of this with me. I would click to stop recording. I will deal with that video here in a little bit. And then right up here, I can click on these 21 students. Sorry. And then see right here where it says invite your classroom. So Jack's going to pick it up from here.
Yeah, so Google Classroom is such a great tool. Like she said, Pear Deck can be a vessel to deliver information. Google Classroom is essentially the same thing. You're giving your kids work. You're giving them, especially with Pear Deck, we can put Pear Decks in there. So right now, Jena has clicked. She's clicked on the button in Pear Deck. Did you show them where you could click that? Where it puts it in the class?
I'll show again. I can show again. So what I did from the teacher dashboard, I went up here to the 19 of 21 students, and then I clicked on that, and then right up here it says invite your classroom.
Yeah.
So this is just one option. This is after you've done it live, and now you're ready to go back to student paste.
Yeah. So what she does is that'll have, obviously since Google's all connected, this will have her classes that are up there, and she can click a class and put it in there. And she can invite this section. The other option is just to go to Google Classroom. You can go to the website and put it in as a material.
Yeah, okay, but before you do that, one thing I forgot to tell you guys, down here on these 3 dots, once you're done live with the live feed, right, and you want to make it back to student paste, you want to go back to where you're going to start your lesson at, and then you're going to click on the 3 dots and click on turn on student paste mode. Now from here,
that's the way to do it if you're already in the Pear Deck. If you are starting it from scratch and you want to do self-paced, when you click when you click start, it'll come up with, like it did for Jen, it'll come up with self-paced.
I'm going back to Jack.
Yeah. It'll come up with self-paced, and then it'll also come up with teacher-led. If you just want to start from the get-go and you don't want to do any live lessons with them, or you want them to just go through it, then you just click on that self-paced, and that will get you where you need to go. And she's going to show you that right now.
As soon as it loads.
And so what happens is when you click on self-paced from the get-go, you're going to have obviously a self-paced code, and that's going to be, it'll be the same kind of 5-letter system, but this code will differentiate it and make it where it's self-paced and then go through at their own pace. So she's going to start it right there. Now, this just gives you one code. If you are a secondary educator, or say you're upper elementary where you are departmentalized a little bit, you will probably want to use more than one code. So say I'll use me for example. I taught 6th grade science, and so I had 5 sections of 6th grade science. So I essentially ran 5 Google Classrooms, and I would create 5 different Pear Deck codes, because the link is all the same. They all just go to joinpd.com. That's all the same. And once you get your kids used to that, that's easy. And then I would just put the code in Google Classroom, and so they reference that in a material post, which Jen is going to show you in a second right now. But we can reference a material post, put the code in there, and then they can access that whenever, as long as it stays live.
Absolutely. Jack, just like 3 days ago, they kind of changed that on us, and I didn't realize it when we were prepping.
How'd they change it?
Well, so right here, when I clicked on that student paced mode, see right here where it says share to classroom, that's all you have to do now. You don't actually have to put the code in.
Oh, cool.
You just click on share to classroom, and it'll come right up to classroom. I'm sorry about the confusion, guys. The beauty of Google and of Pear Deck is that they're very responsive to what we tell them that we need. And so they switch things quickly on.
I would also kind of say that.
So then we have test class
I would also say that they're a little more fluid than a lot of other.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And then,
so you click test class, choose an action.
We're
you
going
want to do create material.
So we have a question, which is why create material? Why not do it as an assignment?
That's an excellent
as an assignment in Google Classroom, it then attaches a grade. As an assignment in Google Classroom, it's going to expect it. It'll have a section where you can. Yeah, it attaches a grade. So in a material, it doesn't need any grading. So there's no wondering. Your students won't be wondering why I don't have a grade. It'll just be a post.
Because you don't grade any Pear Decks in Google Classroom.
Did you assign that? Yeah, so in Google Classroom, that's what you can do. You can put those in there as a material post. Obviously, if you have different Google Classrooms, you can create those that way. That way, all of your kids are differentiated, and that way you don't have one. Like it's my example, 6th grade science. I wouldn't have 130 kids in one Pear Deck that I have to go through and grade. Each one would be different and unique, and it would be very easy to go in and not necessarily grade the whole Pear Deck, but just parts of it. Maybe I'm just looking for understanding. Maybe there's one question towards the beginning, middle, or end or whatever that I'm grading. Maybe I'm taking those 3 or averaging them out or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So within this, let's come back over here to Google Classroom. So like Jack said, we enter it as a material because you're not going to grade anything from Pear Deck within Google Classroom like you would if you had a Google Doc that you wanted them to turn in. Then you could go into Google Classroom and open up that Google Doc, but it doesn't work the same way with Pear Deck. So we put it in as a material so that way your parents and your students aren't going, well, I did it, but it still shows that I don't have a grade. Why do I have a missing grade? So we're just going to label this one Tuesday at 3. That's what we're going to call it, right? Use this link to enjoy this Pear Deck activity. I added extra stuff to it, and I want to show you what that looks like within the test class when we added this like it was going to be a classwork piece for us so we could show you guys. So right here under the week of April 20th, and here's our photosynthesis and respiration. See what I've written here. I said, please watch please have this assignment complete by April 26th at 6 p.m. That is to take place of that assignment, because on an assignment, you can give them a due date and a due time. On a material, there's not one. So I've added it to the top of there. And then I say, watch the video first for an explanation of this assignment, and then use the link to join the Pear Deck activity. And then notice I've given them a suggested timeline of when they need to do it, because like Michaela was saying earlier, we can use Pear Deck as a vessel. So I've given them all this week's whole assignment is in one Pear Deck. And I'll say, as a parent, that's not near as overwhelming to me when I look at my daughter's Google Classroom to try to figure out how to help her best. If I see something like this with all of these, man, that's a lot. That's a lot for her to have to try to figure out how to do, right? But if I come up here and I only see one for the whole entire week, okay, that's doable. And then a suggested timeline. And that's actually what this is. And I'm not going to play the whole thing, but I just want you guys to kind of see what our thought process was behind this. And I use Screencastify for this. I'm not playing all 5. I promise.
Hey guys, I miss you so much. Thank you for joining me today. Before you get started on this week's assignment, I just want to kind of explain some things to you guys. So this is what you normally would be seeing if we were doing a Pear Deck at school on the projector. But I want to talk to you guys about what you see on your computer. So this is the first thing.
We talked to them about that.
I don't get to see it, but also remember, if you just keep that in mind. So make sure you. All right, so this is just reminding us what we're talking about. Remember, we've been talking about cellular respiration and photosynthesis, and now we're going to really try to figure out how they connect to one another, right? So this first slide right here, all I want you to tell me is what you...
So basically on this video, that's what I do. I walk them through each step. And I'm entered right here. I entered as a student. So it wasn't... I went to Join PD. I started a presentation, and then I went to joinpd.com. I typed in my 5 characters, and I started the presentation and went in as a student as I was recording this. So they see on this video exactly what it looks like if they were in here, okay, and as a student. So they know exactly what all of these things are and what they mean and whatnot. Questions?
Hello.
Uh-huh.
So I see that you recorded just one video that goes through the whole presentation, or do you create one video per slide?
No. I did the one video for the whole entire presentation. I took about 5 minutes, which is probably 2 minutes too long, to really explain everything that I wanted them to do. And what we use, I used this one right here. This was the Pear Deck that I used. And so we just go through and talk to them about, here's what I expect you guys to do. This would be the suggested timeline. But again, don't forget, if you can't do it like that, we just need them all done, whatnot. And I just walked them through what it looked like on their end and what they could expect.
Could you share that link with us to see how you went through that?
The video?
Like a sample, yeah.
Okay, I will add the video to the agenda where y'all came in and got Debbie Tanton's email. That said, come here, click here to get to the Pear Deck. There's another little link over there that has the agenda. And yeah. I'll add the video link to the agenda so you guys can look at it if you want.
Thanks.
I haven't done that, but I will. Okay, so that's just the thing. If you add it all right here, then it's easier to manage for the kids. And you're helping give them that container. Any other questions about that part? I'm gonna go ahead and hop off of that and come back into our slide deck so we can finish up. We're going a little bit long. I was supposed to be done 5 minutes ago so y'all could ask questions. So I'm gonna try to quickly finish up so that things make sense to you guys, and then I can stay on a little bit later if I need to answer any questions. Okay, so what you guys saw when we're looking at the different views, again, on Pear Deck, you have the traditional teacher-paced view where the presentation is seen here. Everybody sees it. The teacher has the dashboard session over here, and then the students are able to just join and they get to see, and the teacher controls the pace of the presentation. When you turn it over to student-paced mode, and let's say this is one of the best things about student-paced mode and pushing out your whole entire lesson through Pear Deck. When you push it out through Google Classroom, you don't really know who's seen or not seen your information, but until everything's due and maybe you're having to go back in and say, hey, where's this stuff? If you guys will notice over here in the top right-hand corner, I have 0 of 5 students in my lesson right now. So that means at least 5 of my kiddos have punched in the code or clicked on the assignment to get to the Pear Deck. So I know at least 5 of my kiddos have seen this. Okay. Another great thing is right here. This is on student-paced notes, so they're working their way through it, right? I can tell at least one person has gotten down to slide 4, and or one person's on slide 4 right now, and I've gotten 3 people to answer slide 4 so far. And Jack is correct. He's only circled the 3 that I asked him to circle, but if you look at Katie and Selena, they've circled way more than what they needed to. So clearly they're confused. I've said something that's got them messed up. I need to go back and do a reteach piece with them. Okay, so you can see that in real time from your students. And then if I were to click on this button right here, this is what I would see. And I can see who all is offline and that Jack is online right now and he's currently working. Okay, so just so you guys are good with that. Now the question then becomes, well, how do I get back to that, right? I've got all these student-paced modes out. How do I get back to all of that so that I can see it? So I'm going to come over here to my last tab, which is peardeck.com. And you sign in as a teacher. Click on sessions over here on the left-hand side. And what you can see is right here, this is the one that we're working on right now, is this one, right, the one that we started with today at 3:28. That's the one that you all were in. This is the one that I started to show you guys to put into that Google Classroom, right? Now, I know that because I just did it, but if you'll notice here, look at all these unnamed sessions. We don't want that. It's going to be too confusing. But if you click over here on the right-hand side on those 3 dots, you can actually click name the session. So I'm going to name this one Tuesday at 3, right? And it'll be renamed. And then I can even rename this one to classroom test, so I know what that is. And this would be where you named them first period, second period, third period, or whatever it is, right? So let's say that it's now Sunday, we're done. I've given them plenty of time to get their student-paced stuff taken care of. I can click on these 3 dots again right here, and I can click end session. Now it's closed. Students, you guys cannot go back into that session now. Even though it was a student-paced session, I've closed it out, can't go back in it. But I, as the teacher, can come in here on the dashboard, and I can do that throughout the week too, just so you guys know. You don't have to close it to be able to look at the dashboard. You can look at the dashboard anytime. But I can come back in here and I can see, oh, okay, look, 18 of 23 students. So even though it's closed, I still have some students in here. And then all I have to do is I can open up this, it opened up weird. Normally it has all of my questions and stuff on it. Oh, there we are. Okay, maybe not. So now I can come back in here and I can really start looking to see who did what. So let's say that B was the correct answer, then I can click right here and I can see B's the correct answer. And again, like Michaela or Jackie, the one said, you're not going to grade everything. So figure out what you want to grade, and show yourself the same type of grace that you're showing your students, because you're not going to grade everything. But this is how you would be able to look at it. And again, you have a list layout or a grid layout, and sometimes you have overlaid, depending on what it is. On like the drawings and draggables, you have you can do an overlay. But I can come in here and I can grade these. Now, notice though, when I come to Explore, there wasn't anything in here to grade, right? Because it was just the vessel. So I would actually need to go to, well, on Explore's not a good one because they actually just needed to do something on this. It wasn't an actual thing that they had to turn something with. But on Explain, I would then be able to click on this Padlet or this flip grid and go in as the teacher to be able to grade from there. Okay? Does that make sense to everyone? All right. I think I've covered everything. Jack, Michaela, y'all let me know if I didn't. And then I'm also ready to answer questions if you guys have any questions.
One question.
Uh-huh.
So the structure you used of explore, explain, that's kind of like hyper doc, right? Kind of thing.
They're hyperlinked, yes. The Explorer and the Explainer hyperlinked to take us out. But they're like, it's a real, I can't get into it from here, but it really is a real Padlet that you can go to that I already set up, and then I hyperlinked it back onto here, yes. And then I set up this Flipgrid to record the summary and then hyperlinked it back into here so that they could click on it and go straight to the spot that I wanted them to.
Right. I've just been reading a book about hyperdocs, and this could be sort of like a hyperdoc, your Pear Deck.
Yeah, kind of. If this could be a hyperdoc if we had people maybe in Plano ISD or Garland or even over in China getting on the same Padlet or the Flipgrid, because the difference between just hyperlinking and hyperdocs is hyperdocs allows you to communicate widespread, whereas hyperlinks are just sending you to places.
Gotcha. Thanks.
Yeah. What else, guys? At this point, if you guys want to unmute and ask, we're good with that too. If you have a question.
I'm going to stop recording now.
So yes, you can hyperdoc.